What's up guys, Viper here, and today we have the Emax Babyhawk R Pro. This is pretty much going to be a review, going over the components, doing a little flight with it, and then giving you my thoughts of what I think about this quad. So, right off the bat, let's go ahead and go over the components. It is a 2.5-inch quad, unlike the 3-inch, and they did have a 2.5-inch quad as well, which was like a accessory pack where you can add longer arms and put the bigger props on it. But this is 2.5-inch from Emax, and right off the bat, you can notice that it has like the red canopy. It has these kind of curved props, which actually are really decent, and they actually do take quite a beating because I did crash this thing probably from about 100 feet up in the air, and it held up pretty well. But it's using the RS1106 Emax motors. These are actually naked bottoms, if you can notice there, unlike the originals. So it should probably help with heat dissipation, which I know the original 1106, they did get kind of hot, especially when you flew them on 4S. But let's go ahead and I'm going to take this canopy off real quick. It actually comes off really easy. It's actually 3 screws instead of the 4 screws. And you just unscrew that right there on the back. And then there's 2 screws right here. And then the canopy comes right off. Get a little better look at the stack that we have here. So we kind of take those little screws out of there and pop out the antenna. And so squeeze out. I'm going to take the camera off too so we can get in there. Perfect. Alright, so that is off, and let's go ahead and start with the camera. So this is actually using a Caddx camera. I believe this is the SL1 camera. It's the micro, and it is a pretty decent little camera, so we'll talk about that at the end. And it has the canopy as well. It's actually plastic. It's not like 3D printed or anything. And this is the stack. So let me go ahead and zoom in on the stack. Alright, so I zoomed in real close to the stack so we can go ahead and take a look at what we got here. So now we have the ESC, which you won't be able to really see. It's a 20 amp B-Heli 32 ESC, so we can run D-Shot 1200 on that. And it's wired in pretty nicely. It does have a plug that plugs it into the flight controller right there, instead of the pins, which I couldn't stand on the 3-inch version. On the plug, we are using a XT30, and they put a capacitor on the plug instead of having it hang off the side, which is a really great improvement. And then we have the VTX right here, and this is a 40 channel with race band and all that, with an MMCX connector. It can do 25 to 200 milliwatts. It does come with a receiver, which is a D8 receiver for FlySky. And that's pretty much all about, and also the flight controller. It is an F4 flight controller, so we can run 8K, 8K, and actually it is the F405. It's a Maytech target. So I believe you can actually run a 32-bit, 32K sampling, but I wouldn't do that. It flies really bad. I actually did a setup video about 2 videos ago or so, and it did not fly very well at 32. I jumped it down to 8K, 8K, and it flew a lot better. So if you see that on your flight controller when you first set this thing up, it shows 32, jump it down to 8K. You'll be saving yourself a lot of headaches, like I did. We do have a button for the VTX, but the VTX does have smart audio, and that was probably one of the biggest gripes I had on the Babyhawk 3-inch that I did a review on, is that it was a pain in the butt to hit the button on the video transmitter. So take it as for what it is. But that's pretty much it about the flight controller. It actually does have these 2 little assignable LEDs you can do in Betaflight. You can change the color, and they're RGB, so you can make them green, blue, whatever you want to do, flash. That's pretty neat. But let's go ahead and bring it to the field, and let's kind of give it a rip, and then we'll come right back and I'll give you guys my thoughts.
I don't know if you feel like I do right now. Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall, my love, if you feel like I do right now. Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Back at the bench. Hope you like the flight. That thing does fly really nice. As long as you get it set up correctly. Don't, like I said before, don't put it on 32 because I had a really bad experience. But running 8K, it flew fantastic. But what I have here has the Babyhawk R Pro, and I have the 3-inch version right here as well. And kind of going over what I missed in the first part, it does actually come with some spare things. So in the box, you get 2 sets of props. So, and you really won't damage these props a lot unless you really smack it around. So 2 sets probably should last you a little bit because the thing doesn't have a lot of weight, and it really just bounces off of things. That's one good plus thing about it. Now, unlike the Babyhawk R 3-inch, this is the 3-inch version. This is the 2.5-inch version. You can notice right away, the props are smaller on the Babyhawk R Pro. And what we have here is a unibody. We don't have that on the original. The original actually had boomerang arms, the front and the back. I'm not really sure how I feel about that because I have broke a couple arms on the original Babyhawk R, and I guess we'll see how it holds up and see how this whole solid carbon plate does. But so going over some other things I have on this quad, some quirks. I tried to get the VTX to Twitch channel because I usually fly in E3 or E4, depending on what I'm doing. And it wouldn't switch it. I had it switched in Smart Audio, but I could not get it for some reason to output on those channels for some reason. I tried doing it on Betaflight. I had to actually go on to Betaflight and actually change it back to F1 because it just wouldn't even provide a video output, which was really weird. But I'm not sure if that's an issue with the VTX or something that I might be doing. But that's something to keep in mind if you wanted to purchase this quad. Another thing, too, is that they suggest you have Betaflight 3.5 on it, and they had a custom dump that you pretty much install in the CLI. And I found that did not fly well because it had the 32K sampling of the gyro on there for some reason. So once I jumped it down to 8K AK, it actually flew a lot better. What I actually went ahead and did too is I just went back and put the Betaflight 3.3 configuration they had it on originally, and that flew actually just fine for me, so I have no problems with it. Let's see here, and The camera is okay. I mean, I usually use Predators, so they're a little more, have more dynamic range than this SL1 does. But it's okay. I'd say it's decent. It's definitely better than the Babyhawk R3 inch, which I think it had the Foxeer Arrow micro camera. But it's not as great as I think like a Predator, or I think even that new Valcor micro camera that's came out. It's supposed to be like really neat. But yeah, so that should probably do it for my suggestions and all my other things on it. Another thing too is this thing only does support 3S. You can put 4S, but these motors will get hot on you. You might be able to tune it out, but be warned, if you put 4S on this quad, you might be having to replace motors. So that's why in their product description, they only put 3S. Even though the ESC and the flight controller, all that stuff can handle 4S. And that is another thing, this thing can handle from 2 to 4S, the flight controller, but it is only recommended and suggested on the packaging to use 3S with this, and that's what I was using. I was using 3S 550 mAh batteries. I probably would go ahead and go with 650 mAh batteries on this thing, just because it is a little amp hungry, especially if you're zipping around. I was getting about 3-minute flight times on this, which isn't too bad, but it can always be better. So I hope you appreciated watching this video. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, and look forward to some other videos. I appreciate it. Peace.